Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Good morning, everybody. This is Kevin Dunlap, and welcome back to Life's Little Lessons. And today I have a lady that I met a couple of years ago. For a short while, we were actually each other's accountability partners, so we were calling each other on a weekly basis. And this is a lady also that I pride myself knowing, because she's always like 2 steps ahead where I want to be. So whatever she's doing, I'm always like a couple of steps behind. So every once in a while, I just have to give her a call. It's just like, hey, how did you do this? How did you do that? Because I'm learning vicariously through her. So today I cannot believe that this lady is taking out the time to be on the show and was willing to share some of her experiences with you guys. Her name is Diane Forster. She has a company called I Have Today, and she is an intentional living expert as well as a mindset and manifestation mentor. She's also the author of a book. She also is an inventor that she has actually been on TV selling an invention. So I believe she's going to be talking a little bit about that today as well. So everybody, welcome to today's show, Diane Forster. Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor.
Well, and it's an honor for me to have you on the show, because like I was saying before, you've been a shining guidepost, I guess is what you would call it, to do anything, because you're out there doing webinars, you created an invention, you're speaking on stages, you're doing all kinds of things that I'm just like in your coattails. I'm just following right behind you. So I'm so proud to have you on the show, and thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you. And I'm happy that we've had the opportunity over the last couple of years, we've known each other 2 years now, to be on this journey together. And both of us have a mutual mission to really help and serve people in a really extraordinary way. So that's why it's so fun. So it's great. Yeah, I love it. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, Diane, let me ask you this. What is it that you do so that the listeners will know? What is it that you do, and why is it that you do that?
Okay. What I do is I help people in both their personal and professional lives, and I focus on women because I am, in fact, a woman, and I teach from a place from my own experience. So my purpose was defined from the pain that I experienced. And what I do is several things, but I do coach clients privately one-on-one, and I help them with their mindset, and I help them to define what it is their passion is, what is their purpose, and help them to design a life where they can have it all in every area of their life, every day of their life. And they're limited by nothing but their limiting beliefs. And many of these clients are women in transition. So whether that is they're leaving a marriage, so after post-divorce, they're empty nesters now, deciding what am I going to do with my life now. They're leaving. They want to leave a corporate job and start entrepreneurship, or they're in business for themselves, don't really know how to get to the next level. And what they have are mental blocks, and we all have them. It's just at some level, and they can't really see the forest through the trees. So I help them do this, and I'm highly intuitive, and I use these unique processes. Everything that I do is focused on 3-step processes. So my intention, I set intentions in every area of my life, every day of my life, and I help them to really live that intentionally. It keeps you focused, on track, figuring out what it is you want to do, why you want to do it, how to do it, and to do it without that mind chatter that goes on, but also to stay focused and clear on how to achieve those things. I'm big into hacking. I want results for myself as quickly as I can get them, and I want them for my clients that way as well. So that's sort of in a nutshell what I do with the clients, and every single one of them is different. They each come to me with their own unique story and their own unique challenges. But what I do is my own proprietary processes to, dig in, and I find all the little gaps and the solutions and the opportunities for them that they can't see for themselves. So.
Okay, and so you say you deal with women that are transitioning not only in personal life, like you say, a divorce or empty nesters, but you're also dealing with women that are considering starting their own businesses.
Yes, yes. So my journey, if I can elaborate on that a little bit, is I worked in corporate America for 32 years, and it was a great career run. I worked in advertising in LA for 8 years, and then in television sales for 24 years in Chicago. And while I was there, I came up with the idea for my kitchen product that I invented, which I'm sure we'll get into. And that was really my entry point into entrepreneurship. I had no idea that it would take me on the path that it did, and that this was the road that I was going to take. But it opened my eyes to seeing, wow, there's a whole world out there that I know nothing about. And it really created my curiosity, and I just really wanted to see where things would go. And it was through my personal journey and my own story of the ending of my own relationship that got me to focus on the intentional living and create I Have Today. So that was, so had I not gone through the experience of being an entrepreneur with going through the invention process of the Spifter, it wouldn't really have opened my eyes up to what I could potentially do with I Have Today. So two very different companies, but both stepping out and transitioning, and what I call a reinvention, Kevin. I call everything, it's intention and invention, and it was the reinvention of my life, my journey. And so that's what I help them with, and help them to reinvent their lives.
Okay, let's go down that road a little bit about your invention, because that was, it sounded like that was something that gave you your focus and creating your I guess it was your initial business. Could you tell me about this Spifter? What is it?
Yes,
what is it does? And
the Spifter, so it's Spifter. So think spoon, sifter combined together. It's a sifting spoon. And what it does is, the problem that it solves and how it benefits the end user is it puts sugars and spices on foods and beverages in a precise way. The problem it solves is you can't control how much spice comes out of a container. So many people ruin their food by over seasoning and, the decorating, you waste so many spices. So how I came up with it is, I was making deviled eggs in the kitchen one day for a holiday. And I'm a perfectionist. I love to cook and bake and entertain. And I believe that food should look as good as it tastes. And so the last finishing touch on the deviled eggs was the paprika. And when I went to apply it, too much spice came out of the container and it ruined my dish in one split second. And I thought, oh, if there was just a sifting spoon with a long handle and a tapping edge where I could just tap the spice where I want it to go, that would make everything look beautiful and perfect, season it perfectly and evenly. I wouldn't have to use my fingers to just sprinkle, so no mess, no germs, no waste. And I could see it in my mind. Immediately, I could see the product in my mind. So I set out on a quest to try and find it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I found similar things like dusting spoons and powdered sugar spoons, but nothing what I saw in my mind. And so a little voice in my head said, Diane, you need to make this. You need to create this. And so I was out to dinner with friends one night, and I said, I came up with this idea for a kitchen product. Do you know anyone in that industry who I could talk to about it? And they did. And so he became my mentor. And I said, you sure you want to do this? Like, this is not an easy undertaking. And trust me, Kevin, it wasn't. But I said, I just want to see where it goes. So I started the process. So I filed for a patent, and I found a prototype manufacturer. I told him what was in my mind, and he created a beautiful prototype for me. And I just sort of didn't know what I was doing with it. I was actually kind of satisfied. I had my spoon that I was looking for. And what we did in the invention process is we created it with 3 interchangeable sifting bowls that vary in the sieve size, so it could be really versatile to use with way more than paprika. And then it had all these baking functionalities and all these other uses with spices. It's great for getting, olives out of an olive jar because the liquid sifts through. And it's great for if you get too much wine and if you open your bottle of wine and cork gets in there, you hold the spifter over your wine glass and you pour it through there and it catches all those little fragments of cork. And it had all these uses, which was so cool. So what happened was I was working at ABC at the time. One of the producers found out that I had created this product and called me and said, we're doing a local inventor segment and we'd like to have you on. We hear you're an inventor. And I said, well, I just have a prototype. I'm not really an inventor. But they said, well, we don't care. We take products at all stages. We'd like to have you on the show. So I scrambled. The airing was in 6 weeks. So I scrambled to get a website done and a logo done and, nothing like a deadline to kick your butt in gear. So I went on air for 1 minute and I got hundreds of orders, hundreds. People saying, I've been looking for something like this for years. Why didn't anyone think of this before? So I thought, wow, I'm really onto something. So it led me down the path to other things. And the next step, what happened for me was I went to the International Houseware Show in Chicago and I got a booth in the local inventors corner, and the Spifter was an Innovation Award nominee. There were 30,000 new products at the show and 65 of them were honored, and my little spoon was one of them. It just blew me away. And I thought, and I was the only garage inventor there. Every other product that was honored was a brand name company with something new. So it just sort of kept evolving into this incredible journey. And then the phone calls started getting attention. And one of those phone calls was from QVC. And so I went on QVC in August of 2015 with my little spoon. And it was a great experience. I was part of their ambassador program where they take inventions in, they do a contest for it, and I won the contest. So first they placed orders online. And after a few orders, they called me and said, you know what, your product is selling well. We'd like to have you on air. So that opened up the door for that. So it's been a really interesting journey for me. So now it's available at Bed Bath & Beyond online, and obviously I sell it on Amazon. We sell it through our website. It's available through other local independent specialty shops, coffee shops, gift shops, and it's been quite a journey for that.
So my question to you is, because you were scrambling to get a logo, you're scrambling to get a website done, and then all of a sudden, like you said, you had hundreds of orders. Did you even have a box?
No, I didn't even have the product. I had nothing. Yeah, there was nothing done. So what I did is I politely told all those people, said, we're in the manufacturing stage right now, but, we will keep in touch with you and keep you, apprised of the progress, which I did. But, having never been through that before, and this is a good thing that this show is about, really geared towards entrepreneurs so they can see, the negative sides of things, not just the rosy side of things, because believe me, this has been a journey. But it took about 9 months to get that first, that product made and shipped and delivered. It wasn't an overnight thing by any stretch of the imagination. So I lost a lot of those orders. I'm going to be honest with you. People lost interest. Buying decisions are emotional and they're on the spot, which is why people market and advertise the way they do, because it really comes from an emotional place. But if you lose that opportunity, it's hard to catch it later down the road. But nonetheless, it was a fantastic opportunity for me and journey for me. It was such validation that there was a market there for this product. So price point was good. The value was there. So it was great validation.
And I think we met right around that time. Is that correct?
We met, so the QVC appearance, the QVC appearance was in 2015, and we met in the winter of 2016. We met in January of 2016, so a few months later. Okay,
because I think that was correct, because you had already been on QVC, because we didn't talk about you going on QVC. That was actually something in your past. Yeah. So I was actually curious about your fulfillment, how you're able to. You only have a prototype. It's like, okay, now you have to. Because the prototype people are not going to be the ones that are going to be actually manufacturing the product. That would be somebody else. And I do remember you talk about going to China, going to other fulfillment warehouses or companies to fulfill those orders.
I did. Yeah. Well, where the 200 orders came from, that was from the appearance on ABC. So that happened several years ago. But the QVC appearance, when that happened in 2015, I had product. And so they had it. So yes, we definitely fulfilled. I would not have been able to be on QVC without that. Yeah, they got the process down. They run a very tight, well-run ship over there, QVC. Yeah.
So let me ask you this then, because you help with entrepreneurs. You became basically an accidental entrepreneur because you were working a job at that time.
Yes, yes. I was working at ABC, raising my twins and doing, anything related to the Spifter in my spare time. So in evenings and weekends. Yeah. So it was definitely a labor of love and, to see the path that was going to unfold for it. So
what is it that you did, or when was it that you decided to become 100% entrepreneur?
All right. Well, this is more of the personal story. So there's two sides with intention and invention. So that's the invention phase of it. Intention is my personal journey was that I was living in a marriage and a relationship that was very unfulfilling and just wasn't a good relationship. It was pretty toxic. And I lived that way and kept that a secret for many, many years. And while there were some good moments, there were mostly, bad moments and dark moments. And through the marriage in my life, there were hurdles that I had. And one of those was my mother getting sick and dying of cancer. And while that was happening, I was dealing with infertility issues. And I had changed jobs at the time. So it had like a perfect storm of negative things going on in my life in my early 30s. And my mother passed away when I was 32. And I wound up getting pregnant with my twins the month after she died. So it was a blessing, a bittersweet blessing that she didn't get to see me have children, but it really helped in the healing of mourning her death. After that, I had something to look forward to. But what was happening with my relationship and my marriage with my husband and I was our already dysfunctional marriage and relationship that had no connection, no passion, no intimacy, got put even further on the back burner. We had things to occupy our time, children to prepare for, and then children coming into our lives. But what was happening at a deep soul level for me was I was feeling more and more unfulfilled every single day. And I just kept burying it deeper, deeper, deeper. And I wasn't letting anyone onto it because to the outside world, it looked like I had everything going on. We had this, beautiful home and the careers and the house, the cars, the travel, the kids, the dogs, all of that, the American dream. But inside my soul and spirit were chipping away more and more every day. And so one day in June of 2011, I just couldn't take the loneliness anymore. And I attempted to take my life. And it was not anything I had ever thought about before and certainly never since. But it was a breaking moment. And I was in the bathroom and it was a Saturday night and I had 2 full bottles of pills in my hand, prescription medicine, ready to do it. And force knocked those pills out of my hand like a karate chop. I know it was my mother and said, you're not ending your life this way, Diane. You have too much to do. You need to go get help so you can tell your story so that you can help others. And I just threw up my hands and said, well, you're going to need to show me the way because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help myself. And so the next day I called a therapist and I left a message and I said, I need help. I am changing my life. And it was such a powerful, pivotal moment in my life, Kevin. And it started the path of self-help and discovering me. So it took another 6 months and other things to happen in that marriage for me to get out of it and finally break free of it. But once I did, I had a short pity party for myself, a couple months feeling bad, why me, why now, why this, why did all of this happen? And then I stopped it and said, enough, Diane, you need to take control for your life. You're responsible for it. I'm the one that was the enabler. I'm the one that is responsible for the condition. I allow it. It's all free will. It's all choice. And I decided in that moment I wanted an extraordinary life, and I was going to do anything I could to get it. And so it set me down a path of self-discovery and personal development and spiritual awakening and self-help. And I read everything I could. I listened to every podcast and webinar I could. I attended every live event I could. And what was happening is I was healing in a very profound way and feeling so much better. The self-love, self-confidence, self-esteem was just building up and rising in me and empowering me. And I'm already highly intuitive, and it was getting dialed way up. Way up. So the voices I was hearing, the messages were getting clearer and clearer. And I was getting all these hits of inspiration. I was writing like crazy. And so in August of 2013, I woke up in the morning with a poem in my head called I Have Today. And I wrote it down quickly. I have today to start fresh and new. I have today to love and be loved. And it just went on and on. And when I finished writing it, I looked at the piece of paper and I said, this is way more than a poem. This is a movement. And this is what the voice was talking about that night in the bathroom in June of 2011. This is my way of helping women who don't know their self-worth like I didn't to discover their true divinity, power, and purpose. And so I Have Today is going to be an empire. You know, it's going to be an opportunity with support and platforms for women to come together and to be supported, to discover who it is they really are, their passion, their purpose, why they're here, and to really empower them. And so that piece was there. So keep that in mind. So the Spifter was going on. Then I Have Today was birthed in my mind in August of 2013. And shortly thereafter, I decided, I want to move to San Diego. I want to change my life. And I decided when my twins graduated high school in May of 2015, I was going to reinvent my life. So I put a plan in action and said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a leap of faith. And so their last day of high school was my last day in corporate America. And so I quit my job with no net. I saved some money. I sold my house. I sold all my belongings, literally everything. I came out to San Diego with boxes and a dream, and my Spifters and a dream. Got my twins off to college and decided I'm going to reinvent my life. I'm going to create this life. I'm going to create it with the Spifter and I Have Today. And I don't really know what that looks like, but like I didn't know what was going to happen with the Spifter. I just kept saying, I just want to see where this goes. I just want to see where this goes. And here's the thing that I will say to anyone listening or watching this. Nobody, I don't care who they are, nobody has it figured out. We all go into this journey every day with a level of uncertainty. At least I do every day. I wake up and I embrace it. You know, I say, I have today to love my life. Something extraordinary is going to happen to me. I can feel it. Miracles big and small. I notice them all. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And I say, I love the uncertainty. I love that no 2 days of my life ever look the same. I love waking up like that and then going to bed at night and looking back on the day and blessing all the miracles that showed up, even the negative ones, because there are teachers too. And so that's what really catapulted me out of corporate America, just a desire and my soul's calling me to go do more, get out there, go help those women, just live that big, extraordinary life and shine like the bright star you are, like we all are. So that's what got me where I am today.
I'm glad you shared that, because you're not somebody that just read things in books or attended a whole lot of seminars. You lived through both becoming an entrepreneur. Excuse me. You lived both becoming an entrepreneur as well as going through as you were saying, a toxic relationship where you were even questioning yourself, and then making the big life changes. Like you said, when your twins graduated high school, you moved out to San Diego, and I met you because I think you were living in San Diego.
I was.
And that was, and you're a living testament of what you're trying to help these other women process and go through, because you know emotionally from your heart of what they're experiencing.
Yes, I certainly practice what I preach. And that's one of the things that you said early when you were introducing me, that I'm 2 steps ahead of you, you know, so you're kind of riding the coattails. When I'm working with clients, I have been there, so I know, and I'm teaching from a place of experience. And like I said, the hacking part of it is I'm going to skip many, many steps for you because I know what it took on the journey. So my conversation with them is, you know, I do 3-step processes because they're easy to implement, and they're easy to remember, they're easy to implement, and then they're easy to build upon. And those, what they do is they help create those triggers for them, because we can get so messed up in our mind in that place of overwhelm. And so what I tell them is, when you work with me, you're going to save countless thousands of dollars and countless numbers of hours, because I've been there and I've done it. So, and that's my way of giving back to them. I'm help them and shortcut it for them. So, yeah. And men too. I don't want to discount men, because I certainly work with men. In fact, I have a new client that I'm working with tomorrow, who's a man who I'm super excited to be working with. So I would say 80 to 90% of the clients are women, but I work with men too. So I work with anybody. Really.
And that's kind of because this whole business that I'm doing right now was based upon a class that I took because through a company called Peak Potentials, I was introduced to a lady by the name of Lisa Sasevich.
Yes.
And if you've been to, have you been to any of her?
I have not. I know I'm familiar with her, but I have not been to any of her conferences yet. No.
Well, I would say that she works with men and women, but if you go to one of her conferences, it's about 90% women.
Yes.
at her conferences. And one of the things that she talks about is she does a play on her last name of Sasevich about "Let's be sassy."
Yes.
And that's not a very male attractive
right.
slogan. However, it's because of her classes is what actually started my whole business. This whole business that I'm doing was I was that small demographic male that was attending her things, and my whole business started in 2015. I think it was October 2015, called Understanding Women Today. It was the original incarnation of my business, which now has been switched over to Plentiful Perspectives, because I'm more geared toward not helping women in their relationships, but helping people getting businesses started. But the initial incarnation was because I was working with a woman that had a heavy demographic female following.
Right.
So I want to say, for the men out there that might be wanting to work with Diane or what have you, it's sometimes it's being that odd person in the room is where you can actually learn and gain the most. Right. I know it changed my life forever.
Yes. Yes.
So
that's a really good point. Yeah. And the other thing I'll say to men who might be watching this right now, there is strength in vulnerability. And being able to step forward into that and realizing I don't know what I don't know, and I need all the support I can get. And I know there are more and more men groups out there forming, because women, ladies' night, girls' night, those groups and communities have been around forever. And more men are starting, like Mankind and mastermind groups for men to be really supportive to each other, which I love. So.
Yes, and it's been a journey for me as well. When I first got introduced into personal growth, it was in 2010, and taking the classes that I have since then, being vulnerable for a male to be vulnerable is a strength.
Right. Absolutely.
Because a lot of men want to just bury it down, dig it down. So, well, men don't share their feelings, men don't cry, men don't do this. Like, well, to me, a stronger man, and even I think it even appeals to women more when a man is vulnerable.
Absolutely, without question. Mm-hmm.
So for the men out there, it is okay.
Yes, it is okay. Yeah, reach out, and it's you don't know where. I believe, this is my belief, that every person I meet, every book I read, every, webinar I attend or watch, or seminar that I go to, every single person is my teacher. Everybody has something to teach me. There's a lesson there along the way. And I think that when you view your life like that, at least it serves me, it opens yourself up to be more vulnerable to things as a student of life, ready to receive whatever it is. It's when you're closed off that you don't allow yourself to receive the message or the gift that you're intended to receive in that moment, if that makes sense. So
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been to quite a few different seminars. I've been in quite a few different webinars. I know you periodically do webinars as well as
I
do
do.
trainings. And I know you have a book out there.
I do.
So
Yes.
see, this is why I'm following her coattails. I launched my book like a month after she launched her book. So I'm like literally in Diane's coattails.
And I remember the day that we had that accountability call, and you were, and here's an example. I hope you don't mind me saying this, to your audience. You were at the brink of ready to give it up, and you were thinking about switching and doing some other things in your business. Do you remember this conversation? You had a moment of, you just lost the clarity, which it happens to all of us. And I kind of kicked you in the butt and said, Kevin, no, you've got your book, you need to get it out. And 2 weeks later, your book was launched, and your whole energy, demeanor, confidence, everything about you shifted because of that, tough love coaching that I was able, blessed to give you that day, because I know I've been there. I've been at the lowest point, and you get in your head and you get it, you spiral down, and then you don't think there's a way out. And it's just a limiting belief. And you just have to lift the veil off the limiting belief. And all of a sudden you can see opportunity everywhere. So yes, I know. I was so proud of you. That was such a great moment. I was so happy. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yes, I do remember that because there's quite a few times in my life where I question myself, or I don't look at and really realize my own successes.
Yes.
I mean, and I think all of us are. I think everybody out there that's listening or watching the show has those moments of being a self-critic where
yes.
You don't look at all your wins or your improvements, because then they may be gradual in your life, but just somebody else is looking at it from the outside. It's like, oh my gosh, look at all that you've accomplished.
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, I look at you, it's like, oh my gosh, you're an author. You were doing weekly webinars on every single Wednesday. Like, you're constantly launching these things. And I was like, how does she come up with all this content?
Yeah. Well, I can't shut it off. I'm an inventor. I'm a creator, so I cannot shut it off. It's, you should see my list of things that I want to accomplish, and I just write them all down and get to them whenever. But see, we all have our unique gifts, and so we figure it out. And have they all been successful? No. And the webinar has been it's been a learning process for me, really. And same thing with the blogs and some of the other things. I believe that whatever your idea is, go for it. This is what I tell my clients. This is what I tell my following. Just, if you've got an idea in your mind, go for it. Even if it's quote unquote crappy. My book that I wrote, I'm a completely different person 2 years later than the book came out. And I'm getting ready to write my next book. And the evolution will continue to keep happening. You could get lost in perfectionism, and it will paralyze you. It will paralyze you. You just need to go forward, put it out there, get it out there, because I'm going to quote Alex Mandosi, and I heard him say this. He said, version 1 is better than version none. So people can't know you. They can't like you, love you, hate you, whatever, comment about you, if you don't put your work out there. And I'm going to quote James McNeil. If you remember, he said to us that our work is none of our business. Our job is just to get it out there, because it's going to resonate with whom it's supposed to resonate with. And I see this over and over and over again in the comments that I get. Your blog today, it hit me right at the moment that I needed that message. Thank you so much. Or I had a friend who really needed to hear this today, or whatever it is. And so we have no idea of the powerful ripple effect that we're having on people. You just got to get out of your head and get it out there. Get your ideas and your brilliance out there. So.
And I fully agree, because I've heard, excuse me again, I've heard people say that if you're withholding your talent and keeping it inside, you're doing a disservice to the world.
Yes, yes.
You're
Right.
actually taking from the world, because you're
Right.
not providing that message that at least one person, two people, however many people needs to hear.
Yes. Yes.
And so for those of you out there that are inventors, those of you out there that are coaches, those of you out there that are out there to help people or thinking about that, or those that you're having the intention to write a book, you've
Hmm.
got to get out there. You've got to put it out there into the world.
Yes.
That's
You do. You absolutely do. And I have a client, I'll just share this quick little story about her. You know, this is why I do so much mindset work, because she was paralyzed by a situation. She got a massive tax bill, and now she's freaking out and dealing with challenges with her husband related to it. I mean, I'm not giving any personal information away, but she had just launched a new business and she had some health challenges, and I had to pull her back in and reel her back in and make her realize, you just launched this business and you sold more. She had a projection number to hit and she overachieved it by 22%. Amazing, right? So, and she wasn't even celebrating that. She was so focused on the problem that was sitting over there, which I alleviated for her, that and put it in perspective how much not a problem it really is, and how to really rectify that situation, how simple it is. Let's break it down. And then I gave her a goal to focus on. This is the only thing, kind of with you, same thing with you. This is the only thing you need to do and focus on. And she sent me a text yesterday and a text today. She's hit her numbers the last 2 days in a row because she's so focused on that now. And it's such a testament that how much power we have in that moment when we shift our mindset to what it is we really want, and not the outside things that are outside influences that can take us down. And so she was feeling really bad about herself, beating herself up, just like we all do with our products and services. And it's so much in the mind. We've got to get that cleaned up here, because that will take us down every time. It's always what's going on in our head. It's not about what anybody else thinks. It's never about what anyone else thinks.
well, and I agree with you, because when you talk about you really getting focused, I call that the power of manifestation. Because
Yes.
what you're focusing on, you will manifest. If you're going to
Yes.
focus on the problem, you're going to manifest more problems. If you focus on the solutions, then by some miracle, like, oh my gosh, I've accomplished this. Okay, so now what?
Yes. 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 So thank you for saying manifestation, because what I call myself is a mindset and manifestation mentor. And so it is all about that. And everything in my own journey, everything from the idea of the spifter, I saw the spifter in my mind, and then I manifested into the world. And it's a very powerful manifester within myself, but I teach my clients how to do it. But if anybody wants to know the key to manifestation, here it is. You must see the end at the beginning. You must focus on what you want, the outcome from the beginning. Do not worry about the how. The how will come together. The relationships will come into your life, the persons, the people, the connections, the resources. And it's always thinking about what it is you want, not what you have. So thinking about it from the end at the beginning.
And then taking action on that.
Yes, but inspired action. So when you're in the struggle of the day-to-day, that's not the time to act, because that's laced with negative energy. If it feels bad, don't do it. Divert your attention to something else. If you've got to get a proposal done, but you're not feeling it in the moment, and you're getting ready to do this, maybe it's a presentation for a speech. When you're in the struggle of it, that's not the time to write it. Do something else. Even go take a walk, take a nap, go get a glass of water, call a friend, do something to shift your energy into a more positive state, then work on it. And then it comes together so quickly. I mean, don't you notice this when you're working? You have moments when you're on a roll and things are coming to you easy and it's just flowing. That's called inspired action. That's when you should be. It's when we're in the struggle that the results are not good. It's not what we want them to be. So, yeah, it's all mindset work. It's all in the mind. Yeah.
Okay, and let me switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
When you were first getting started, let's say as an entrepreneur, what were some of your early successes? I know you got called to be on the ABC channel too, because you were an
Yes.
inventor. Was that one of your earliest successes, or what was
That
another success?
that was a great success and a complete surprise. And here's the thing, everything that happened to me, Kevin, was such a pleasant surprise. And it was when I was in a feel-good state of mind and it just flowed in. So that was one. Another was, prior to the QVC call, I had a series of calls. I got a call from Shark Tank, which was an honor, but I worked for ABC, so there was a conflict of interest, so I couldn't be on the show. And then I got a call from the Food Network, and they were launching a series similar, like a Shark Tank type series for food and food related products. But that show got canceled before it got off the ground. And then I got the call from QVC. And here's what I know. Everything is divine timing. This is what I believe. So QVC was the call I was meant to get. That was the opportunity that was meant to happen for me. So that was one of the successes. And getting into Bed Bath & Beyond was a success. And with I have today, I've had tremendous successes. I know we're going to talk about the failures too, because we're going to need to talk about the failures. But being able to write a book, here's what I'd like to say to your audience. If they're thinking about writing a book, here's how my book came together. And you know the road because you were on this journey with me. When it finally got done was similar to how it got done for you, Kevin. Yes, so here's what happened for me, and here's what I know happened for you. It was when I decided I am going to, complete this book, and I gave myself a by-when date. And once I did that, I committed Mondays. I called Mondays Musings with Diane. I blocked off the whole day. I did not turn on my phone, no internet, no social media, no email, nothing. I committed 5 hours on a Monday, 3 weeks in a row. My book was done. Yeah, so that was the key to getting the book done. And what a sense of accomplishment when it's finally done. So that was definitely, a success for me, doing that. So, and it was making the commitment and just shutting out all the chatter and the noise and the distractions. Because once you get in that zone, you flow. You're in the flow. It just comes. Yeah. And then, creating an online coaching program and launching my website and speaking and certainly coaching clients, private one-on-one clients. That's been an extraordinary, rewarding experience for me, seeing their transformations. I love doing that. Very, very satisfying. So those are the big wins. Yeah.
So what were some of your early fears when you were just getting started? Because we all learn from our failures, and also our fears are what's stopping us from doing it.
Yep.
And I would like to know, what were some of your fears and how did you overcome them? Or how did you get past them?
The early fears were, this is part of you don't know what you don't know. And then you do know what you don't know. So part of that was the fear of overwhelm I had related to, how am I going to do this? Get all this done. Get all that's going on in my mind, what I want to create, what I want to accomplish, how I want to serve in the world. How am I going to do this? Like, holy cow, it's overwhelming. One of the greatest techniques that I do, as I said, is I do see the end at the beginning. So when I'm in a feeling of overwhelm, what I'll do is I'll project a year from now. And I say, well, a year from now, this won't matter. It'll be done. So I do that. And then I go into creative visualization is a very powerful tool. And I'll go into the creative thought and see myself a year from now. Oh, well, I've already written another book. That's already happened. I've already hosted a live event. That's already happened. I've accomplished X, Y, and Z, and really go there, because that helps alleviate that fear and that overwhelm. Because you realize that we have these fears, doubts, worries, these negative emotions or emotions in general. You can't hold any of these things, right? So just as quickly as they come into the mind, you can quickly get them out of your mind. You can literally drop them. And so I do that, and then I look back where I was a year ago. And focusing on that helps you to realize how much you did accomplish, how far you've come. So it's a two-step process in really getting over the fears. Look ahead, it won't matter a year from now, and then look back, look at how much I've accomplished. So
and sometimes, because when you say that, sometimes it might be good to actually talk to somebody you haven't talked to in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or whatever.
yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, I've done all of this since they were saying. So what's been going on with you? It's like, okay, let me go back and see when was the last time I talked to them. Like, okay, I've done this, I created this business, I got that book done. Okay, I started a podcast.
Right.
Like,
right.
oh my gosh, I have done a lot.
You have done so much, so much. Yes. Yeah. So it's worthwhile to do that because we need to celebrate those things. And so, like I was telling you about the client, she really needed to focus on her huge success of opening a business and generating 22% more revenue than she thought she would. What an accomplishment. It's great. So yeah. Yes. But when you're feeling that fear, do that process.
And I like that because, even as of today, as recording of the show, and when it's actually broadcast, this is going to be something in the past. But at the time of the recording of the show, I'm looking at some of the challenges or overwhelm that I'm going through. Like, okay, now I want to change my website to be a WooCommerce website. Okay, now I want to have landing pages through my page. I want to have my own membership sites through my Kevin A. Dunlap page. It's like, okay, how do I do all of this? Okay, let me go find this plugin. Let me learn how to use this plugin. Let me go ahead and not only learn how to use it, let's say if I'm going to use WooCommerce, how do I put all my products on there? How do I put my coaching on there? How do I get paid through there? It's like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. But I look at this, well, a month from now, I'm going to look back at this like, this is easy. This is part of my coaching program. If you're going to start an online service program, you need to have this in place. This is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. I really like that. I've never really thought about visualizing into the future about where you were today and what you had to overcome. Mm-hmm. But that's a great technique. And I am a strong believer in doing meditation as well. So sitting back, you can sit in the chair you're in right now, close your eyes and just breathe and just be with the moment and then focus on the future. It's like, okay, now you let your creative mind get past those issues that you think that you have.
Right. Those negative emotions. Yes. Yeah, I do. I meditate every day. It's I have a nurture my spirit, mind, and body morning ritual where I meditate every morning. I journal and then I read and move my body. And it's like, I take care of me first, and that allows me to give so much more to the world. Yeah. And I do also, I told you I teach 3-step processes, and there's simple techniques you can do to really alleviate those feelings of worry and fear and doubt and anxiety. There's so much anxiety out there. People just so much of how to, quickly pull up the triggers so that you can get over it really, really quickly. So.
Okay, well, now that we're talking about getting over that, let's talk about those, because you mentioned it already, we know this is coming. What about some of those early challenges or those setbacks or those failures that you saw, and how did you get past those challenges or perceived failures?
I will say that if anybody else were looking in my head, they would see many of the things that happened with the Spifter as failures. I did everything wrong, Kevin. Everything. Every single thing I did wrong. And here's the thing, I wouldn't have known if I didn't try. I learned. I don't believe in mistakes. I believe everything is a lesson along the way. So there were a lot of expensive mistakes too. And how I look at it is that's my college education. It was, the books only can teach so much. It's experience and life that teaches us. And unless you try and fail, look at Einstein, look at Edison, 1,000 attempts on the light bulb. He figured out 999 ways to not create the light bulb. That's how we do it. So I will say that there were a lot of them, manufacturing ahead of sales, working with some third-party people, hiring sales reps on retainers instead of commission only. I mean, these are expensive mistakes I've made. So, but I tried and I learned. And so that's, for me, that doesn't really constitute as a failure. It's a, a lesson along the way. So that's what I want to encourage people to look at it. Don't look at, oh my God, I wasted so much money or spent so much money. People focus so much on the money instead of the lesson and the experience. And here's the thing about money. I teach a lot of this. It's never a money issue. It's always a mindset issue. It's always a limiting belief there. Money is everywhere. Money is easy to make. Money is easy to find. If you start manifesting that and affirming that, it will show up in your life a lot easier. It's this lack of and the scarcity thinking that paralyzes people. Well, I can't do that. I can't leave my steady job because I won't have the paycheck. And how am I going to pay the rent? And how am I going to feed my family? And then it gets in this perpetual downward spiral instead of saying, well, what could I do to make double what I'm making right now? Where can I look for the opportunity here? And it's the RAS, the reticular activating system in our brain, that allows us to see the whatever it is we're focused on, whatever our attention is. So it's like somebody wanting to buy a red Corvette. All of a sudden, once they put that in their mind and their awareness, I want a red Corvette. They see red Corvettes everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're focused in your mind on the lack and the scarcity thinking, you're going to see that and invite that into your life. You're going to manifest it into your life. But if you focus on opportunity and, gifts everywhere, miracles everywhere, money's everywhere. There's an abundant universe. It's limited. It's infinite. Limitless. It's infinite. You'll start to attract more of that into your life. So I want to really leave that message with your audience, because you're going to make mistakes. We all do. That's how we learn. It's like the child who's learning to walk. She starts out crawling and she falls and stumbles and she gets on her feet and she falls down, but she gets back up, and then she falls again until she masters it. And then she starts climbing, and then she starts dancing and jumping and different things. But all the while she's falling and stumbling the entire time, but she keeps going. Each step is a milestone, to a higher and higher level. That's the process of life. That's the evolution of life. So it's being unafraid and brave enough to be willing to step out and know that you're going to fall, and how you're going to pick yourself back up.
And when you're saying all that, because one of the things I teach the clients that I talk to is, like you're saying, focus on the future, or even focus on the now and the future. Can you get there? And too many people focus on the past, and I call it the would have, should have, could have. Well, I should have done this. I would have. Like, you can't change the past.
Yeah.
Should have. It doesn't matter. What can you learn from that, from the results that you got from there, and what can you do differently now in the future? Because you cannot go and should have done it, because you don't have a time machine. Right. So, and then, like you said, and then when you have a failure or you have a setback, you have to be able to pick yourself up. You fell off the horse. Okay, so you get back up, on the horse again. Mm-hmm. Or if you're learning to walk, okay, so you stumbled, you fell to your side, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're a child or you're somebody that's learning how to re-walk again. It has to, that perseverance, that dedication, and just keep going mm-hmm. after what is it that you want. It
is so true. And I was just going to say something else about that. I Have Today is the name of the company for a reason. It's really about intentional living and living in the present moment. If you woke up every day and said, I have today to start fresh and new. I have today to fall in love with my spouse all over again. I have today to live as, fearlessly as I want to. Whatever you want to put after I have today to, I have today to wipe the slate clean. My past doesn't matter anymore, because it doesn't. It's back there. And you literally get a reset every single morning. So to keep that intentional thought in your mind, and those 3 words, I have today, will really help you become more fearless and be able to step out into new opportunities when you realize that. So that's why so much of the work and the emphasis is on that, because our life is now, right now. You and me doing this interview, this is life right now. Nothing else matters, bills that need to be paid or or, you know, doctor's appointments down the road or any of the other things, they don't matter. This is the moment that matters. So to know, you know, this is your moment right now and you have a choice. How do you want to feel? How do you want to live? And it's a feeling, and happiness is a choice. It's not conditional. It's a choice in the moment. So,
yes. And I fully agree. Yes, happiness is a conscious choice.
yes.
It is not precluded by any external event. No matter how much you think it is, it's not.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I did a 30-day challenge, which I know we're going to talk about that at the end, but a 30-day challenge. And one of the day's challenges is be aware of your use of when then statements. Because when I lose that weight, then I'll be happy, or then I'll start dating, or when I make $1 million, then I can relax, or any use of that is saying to the universe that I'm not happy right now. I'm not good enough right now. I don't deserve what I want right now. And it's putting out there that conditions need to be different than they are, and circumstances need to be different than they are in order for me to be happy. And it's not that way. The happiness piece must come first. Choose to be happy, live in happiness, and watch all that other stuff come in.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree, because actually I gave a talk on exactly that. I call it something different.
Yeah.
Most people look at it from the perspective, it's from the perspective of have, do, be. I had to have this to do what I need to do to be happy. It's
Yes.
using your vernacular. However, I teach it's not have, do, be. It's be, do, have.
Yes, it's true.
So you have to be first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's
so,
that's a really good point.
So where do you see yourself in the next 12 to 24 months, the next 1 to 2 years?
Oh my gosh, so much exciting stuff is going on. I am writing my next book. It's on manifestation. I'm very excited about that. I am hosting a live event in San Diego, October 19th, 20th, 21st. So the details of that are to come. We're putting together the venue and the components. I would love you to come and your audience to come. It's going to be a must-attend, transformational weekend. I'm so excited about it. Some of the other things that I'm doing is I'm also launching a podcast this year. And I've got a CD that's coming out. It's called Love of Self Meditation Mantras. It's working title. We're still working on it. But this is one of my proprietary processes that I do, which is I create personalized mantras for people, their own customized meditations to help them with their fears, their doubts, insecurities, worries, and then how to really magnetically attract in what it is their goals and desires are. So, but this is a category of 10 of different ones in the area of love and health and finances, career, self-worth, and many other things. So a lot of products coming out, a lot of exciting stuff. So yes, so yeah. And of course, I'm looking for I have room in my schedule for a handful more of clients, one-on-one clients. So if you'd like to work with me privately, I'd love to do a strategy session with you and see if I can support you. So doing that as well.
So if the clients wanted to get a hold of you, would they find you on your website?
Oh, yes. So if you go to my website at dianeforster.com, it's DianeForster. There's an opportunity to receive, I have 4 free gifts, amazing free gifts. And one of the gifts is an application for a free strategy session with me. So go on the site, click on the link. All I need is your name and email address, and then fill out the application, and let's have a conversation and see if my methodology and my processes can really help and serve you in your life and get you to where it is you want to go and get you to that next level. Because I personally know I have 3 coaches. I could not do it alone. And why I've been able to have the massive success I've been able to have as rapidly is because I've learned the hard way, the expensive way, that I want to hack this. So I want to work with people who've done it already, so that I can bypass and get there faster. So,
because if you're doing it all on your own, you're kind of like you said with your invention, you're guessing along the way, and it could be a very expensive and daunting process.
It is. And the thing is, as entrepreneurs, we take on too much. we think we can do more than we actually can. So Vishen Lakhiani says we usually overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do in 3 years. But your job is to figure out what it is you do best. What are you skilled at and talented at? Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Others are supposed to be doing the rest. But how do you do that? And how do you make that work? Well, there's ways to do it, really, in efficient ways to do it. So, and I learned, we learn that the hard way, and and then once we learn it, we learn how to do that so that we can really be focused on what it is we're supposed to be doing, which is you doing this podcast right now, bringing this to the world, and inspiring and educating your audience with this valuable information, which is great.
Okay. Well, thank you, Diane. Again, for those of you, if you didn't already hear this, she's got a second book coming out here. This is 2018, so she's got a second book coming out here in 2018. Later on this year, in October 19th to 21st, she's having a 3-day live conference in San Diego, which I'm sure will be on her website.
Yes, it will.
And she also is going to be launching a podcast, and we could talk about this offline about some of the ins and outs of putting together a show. So we could talk about this offline.
Yes.
And she's got a CD. A Love of Self CD that she's also in the process of making. And you said with your clients, you do create your own meditation and mantras for that one specific client. This is not something that's just a generic one for everybody.
No, and they've been having unbelievable results with them. So fun to watch the transformations. It's great. But also I have my book on Amazon and on my site. I have today. So that's available right now. So, and everything that we've talked about, the personalized mantras, the strategy session, the spifter, everything is on my website in the shop. So go on the site, browse around, look at my blogs, watch my webinars. It's all there.
Okay. Well, thank you. And you can find that on her website, which is at www.diane, Diane, Forster, FORSTER.com. And she has 4 free gifts, which includes when you fill out the application, a free strategy session to see if you guys are compatible with working with each other. Mm-hmm. So, Diane, any last words before we say goodbye to everybody?
I would just say this, that don't let your limiting beliefs and your fear get in the way of moving forward in your life. Reach out to Kevin, reach out to me. You're not alone on this journey, and there are people like us who would do anything to support you and help make your dreams come true. And but the onus is upon you to take the leap forward and make that first step. So please do it. Take a leap. I mean, look at me. I leaped away from a golden handcuff job, and I'm literally living the life of my dreams. But I'm not special and unique. I'm just like you. So you can do it too.
Yes, and I fully agree, because I was downsized in 1999, and ever since then I've been self-employed. So that's why I have my own business coaching business, which you can also find at kevinadunlap.com. And I also, like yourself, I have to contact us. We can schedule a strategy session. If not, if you resonate with Diane, go to her website. If you resonate more with me, go to my website. Go to both our websites. Get strategy sessions from both of us.
Yes, really.
And our 2 coaches. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Diane has 3 and I have 3 as well. So
mm-hmm.
It's coaching is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best ways to move forward, because you're talking to somebody that's there to hold you accountable, as well as to be your ear and your shoulder, so they can understand what you're going through, as well as both of us have been entrepreneurs for quite a few years, and we can show you what we've learned, what to do, what not to do. So hiring a coach or a mentor is critical, I think, for anybody that's just starting out.
Totally. So. Yeah, it's an $18 billion business, and people say, oh, everybody's a coach. You know what? It's because coaching is so needed. It's so in demand, and everybody's unique in their own way, and it's finding the right match for you. It's so important, and it's critical to the success of entrepreneurs. Even the most successful people in the world have coaches.
Oh, yes.
Everybody does. Tony Robbins has a coach,
If it's not a coach, it's an advisor. I mean, an advisor is another name for a coach. Let's look at Donald Trump. Does he have any advisors? He has tons of advisors, and he's running a country. So of course you have to have those people talking in your ear.
You do. You can't read the label from inside the bottle. We can't. So we need somebody else to help us. Yeah.
Amen. That's a great saying. And I think I saw recently, they said by 2020 or 2025, I forget which the year it was, that 20% of Americans will actually be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So
that's given the direction of technology and the way business is going. Yes. How fantastic is that? Right? Mm-hmm. Give your best to you. I gave my best, and I was so grateful, but I gave my best to somebody else for many, many years, for over 3 decades. And I just woke up and said, you know what, it's time to give my best to me, Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And if you just started out, get started like Diane did. Not myself, because I was kind of thrust into it, but do like what Diane did and just, start working both. You work at corporate America and you start your small business and you just build it and build it and build it until you can actually surpass the income of your corporate job. Now you can quit your job.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And follow your dream and follow your passion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, Diane, I want to say again, thank you for being on the show. It's been a great pleasure. And I would look forward to talking with you offline and also reconnecting you. I know we're going to be attending some conferences together here in the near future. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing you in person again.
Yeah, that would be great. I look forward to it too. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It was my pleasure.
My pleasure as well. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @KevinADunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.